572-0383 and 572-0215. Rev-Up St. Lucia, the alpha of radio.
Hello there, good morning, good afternoon, good night to our listeners and our viewers in St. Lucia and across the globe, especially those of you checking us out on Facebook, on YouTube, and on X. Welcome to the Love Zone for today, Tuesday, the 20th of May. My name is Andrea Paul, the co-host of the show. To my immediate left, none other than the lovely Nikkie. Nikkie, good morning.
Good morning, good afternoon, good night to all our listeners. I hope that all is well with you and yours. Good morning to you, Andrea and Shamark. I trust that everybody had a wonderful weekend and your week is going wonderful thus far. I wish everybody a wonderful day, good health, strength, and eternal blessings. I just want to shout out Miss Mary. I hope that you're well. I'm sorry I didn't shout you out last week. I'm shouting you out today, especially. I just want to say big up to all the Calypsonians, the groovy soca and power soca artists. You know, the season has begun. Wishing everybody the best. Let's go out there and make a huge impact, not only on St. Lucia, but on the world at large. So, you know, everybody big up to you. And I hope that practice sessions are going well. And I just want to say, let's continue, you know, the good work. Yeah, so thank you, Andrew.
Okay, talking about that, Nikkie, you writing for anybody this year?
I wrote for somebody, well, a child, school child, yes. They did not make it through to the other stage of the competition, but I think that it was because of the fact that the song was given too late. They approached me late, and so, yes, I want to urge people, you know, when you want songs, you have to come really early so that, you know, the child or whomever doing the song, you know, will feel comfortable and confident with it. You know, the lateness, that puts a lot of pressure on the person. So we really have to work on that. Yes.
Yeah. So any other person you're writing for this year?
Myself.
Oh, so you're going to be competing?
Yeah. Well, not competing. I'm just singing in the tent. Yeah. Just having fun.
Which tent is it, by the way?
Fire One. Our show is actually on Saturday. Well, that's what I know of. So 24th of May. So people come out and support us.
That sounds exciting.
Yes.
Very exciting. You know, did you write for Lolani?
No.
Oh, you didn't? Okay. But you've heard of her, right?
I've heard of her.
Yeah, she's kind of gone, you know, from junior to senior.
Yeah, she has.
Yeah,
she
like
has.
quick, like this
it
transition.
happens so quickly, you know. It's something else, yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, she has a song there with a young man. I forgot what it's called right now, but she sounds really, really good, really good actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
She has a good voice.
Okay, good stuff. So let's say good morning to co-host of the show, none other than the handsome Shamark. Shamark, good morning to you.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Sanisha. Good morning, Nikki. Good morning, Andrea.
Good morning.
Yes, I hope all is well with everyone. Okay, Nikki, so let's get into the action. What are we talking about today?
Okay, so
we have two choices.
No,
you choose.
Today, no. Today, I think we finalized that already. Today, we're going to be talking about, should people ever go back with their ex? Should people ever go back with their ex?
I think that's a good one.
The other one was a good one too, you know. But anyway, let's leave that alone.
I think that was a good one. Yeah. Okay. So let's kick it off. Nikki, do you think people should go back with their exes?
I think that this is a very personal choice. Some people will never go back. They tell you, you know, like forward ever, backward never. But I honestly think that it depends on, you know, like the two people, or it depends on you, what you want. People grow, people mature, people evolve. There are some situations where, you know, like people broke up and then it's best not to go back. But then there's no telling what can happen. People change. So that is an individual choice.
Okay, Shamark, do you think people should go back to their exes?
I think life is like a flower, so it blossoms. So it depends on what direction the wind's in you. Because if to just sit down and it depends on the situation at that time, you might say no, and then again it depends on how the relationship broke up. You know, sometimes maybe people need time apart to, like Nikki always said, to deal with the unsolved issues and stuff like that. And I think I know persons who have not divorced but split up, take some time apart, and then when they rekindle, I mean, like the relationship is stronger than ever, and they're in a better space. So sometimes when we just discussing it, people will say, oh, man, go back. But if you was in an abused relationship and stuff like that, they have persons that have gone back because the person do it for whole 360 and they changed. Maybe they did counseling and stuff like that. But if you just if you're naked mind, you might not go back. But sometimes you don't even know stuff happens, and life sometimes is beyond your control. You know, but because it's almost like when we're growing up, we're saying, I want to do this, I want to do that, and half of the things never happen, and sometimes it happen, it go the total opposite. It's like sometimes our parents have dreams for us, what they want, that's not what we want, because everybody have their own dreams. So it happens like that for relationships. But I don't think it's something, most times, most persons will say they'll not go back. But some relationships just fade away. Now, most of those that fade away for no reasons, maybe they was not compatible at the time, or there was not enough communication, and then after a time you realize, okay, hey, sometimes it just happened, and people just figure maybe they cannot have enough of that person, or they just want to try it again.
So what would, I'll ask both of you that question, what would be some of the reasons, right, for you, Shamark, not going back into a relationship? What would have happened? What were the dynamics in a relationship like that would cause you not to want to take a risk, even if maybe there may be some signs of change on the part of the other person?
That's like two questions in one, eh?
Okay, let's make it simple. What is it that would turn you off so much that you wouldn't consider going back to that ex?
I think if I was dating somebody that used to steal from me, somebody that would kind of gossip about me, maybe try to dirty up my character, and maybe just, I think, somebody that would not present me in a good light, and maybe to even using the person verbally abused me, or the person used to hit me and stuff like that. I don't think, as much as maybe we can be friends, but then to me I would be afraid that it can happen again. But I don't see there's, for me, if it's anything I said there in this context, I would stay away from it. Try my best, but if the universe think it's right, maybe sometimes it might happen. Sometimes what we want, that's not what we get. You know, you don't even know, because there are sometimes you end up dating somebody. But how did we end up dating? You can't even remember how it started and how it ended. So yeah.
So let me see. Give me an example of something that the person would, your ex would say about you that you wouldn't appreciate. I think you said, like, no, this person is kind of bad talking you, saying things. And would that be happening? Sorry, during the relationship, or just about the time that you break it up?
I think after, most people sometimes, especially people, I think when they break up, they tend to go and spread the person name, like they really they angry that the relationship is, one party is angry that the person end the relationship, so they will say all sorts of things about that person that they was in love with. Now, to me, when you can say all of those sorts of things, that means you was never in love with me, or you never liked me. You never, I don't know why were you there? But then, to me, if you can go ahead and drag my name in the mud like that, that means that's a no. There have sometimes some persons break up and they just fade away. They might not speak for a while, and they're just like, hi, hello, you know. It's okay, but to start insulting the person and have the person name all over the place. So our mutual friends, they would go and tell the person, Shamark this, Shamark that, like, and create a different painting of what happened of that person. But then you just realize you spent 2 years or 3 years of your life with that person. Why do you have all of those things to say now? You're singing a different song now, the fact that we are not together.
Yes.
So if it's in that light, to me, that's a turn off for me. But if we just go our separate ways, and, you know, off and on a little hi, a hello, stuff like that, fine.
What about a situation, I'll get you, Nikki.
No.
What about a situation where the person, maybe you have an account together or something, and the person goes to the bank and removes all the money, that sort of thing.
So cool. I'm right.
What about a situation where you're in the house, right? You've invested in things like furniture and things like that, maybe a bed, and then the person would take all the stuff from the residence.
Well, in that area too, if you're dating somebody and they take things back, so cool.
Right.
Because for me, you would do it again. Why would you give me a shoe and say, give my shoe back? Give me a bed and give my bed back, give my machine. What happened? You're working for Cottery possessing things. What's that? That one is a turn off. Because that means if I sleep in you and think another man in the bed, another woman, you come, I think that one is a turn off. That's childish. Any man or woman that does that, it happens a lot right now as we speak. That one is a turn off. You cannot go back with somebody like that. You throw my clothes outside and stuff like that.
Yes.
I mean, like that clothes outside, guilty. I did that once, but once I apologized. I was really angry, but however, and it was feeling good too, eh? To see the clothes flying like kites. But I think
you apologize to whom? The person?
I apologize to the person. But sometimes you do stuff on your anger. But I am saying, even with me, the person don't come back. But no, I wouldn't go back. I wouldn't feel comfortable because it's like you hack into my account and you dried. I would feel uncomfortable. It's like you're walking on eggshells. That one is a no-no.
Here's another one. You all did some explicit, video.
Yes, oh God.
And maybe in the video your face is shown. The other person is careful not to put their face, right?
Yeah, you always get that.
And then they expose it. What about that?
Well, for that one, if it's me, I would not go back with that person, but that one cannot happen to me because for me alone, I don't entertain phones. One person's doing bedroom business because at the end of the day, as long as they have a phone, that means there's three of us. The phone, I look at it as somebody. Because it's me you want to deal with. Why you need a phone? You understand? So for me, I wouldn't encourage people because as a child growing up, I would have so many cases and people had to leave St. Lucia, get refugee status in different countries because of that. So that's a dangerous thing. And I would think, why would you do that? Don't tell me you saw it because it's something that you think of. Don't tell me you're angry so much. That means you want to destroy me and you want to send me mental because it's like everybody's seeing. You know, one thing everybody's seeing you is one thing I always don't understand or try to understand. I'm not into Nikki, fine. And as soon as we start dating and stuff like that, it's so easy. You get comfortable with that person seeing you naked. And can you imagine the whole world is seeing your private party? The whole world is seeing you naked. It's like you feel like you don't have anything to hide anymore. So you want to go in exile yourself totally in somewhere where people don't even know you. So if the person did that to me, about Jesuku, I don't know. I don't know how I would react, but I would not go back with that person. I don't think I would even speak to that person. I would just delete you off my mind because that's how I look at it. Before we met, and then to me, if we're not speaking, it's okay. I can just delete you off my mind.
I wish I could talk to somebody who had gone through that sort of thing and to ask them how they were able to manage it. In other words, like going back into in public and so on, and everybody knows who you are. They saw you on the video. I wonder how they manage that sort of thing.
I think sometimes what I think the old people had something saying. If you realize a gossip come out today as we on the radio station right now, people talk about it for 2 weeks. The next gossip come out, it's so hot. People don't even remember what that come out. You understand? Yeah, because I was watching something last night. Funny you asked about that. Something that happened one time of In Sync and think the man did a scam. The man that was this group singers. But at the same time, they bombed the World Trade Center. So it's like the gossip never even went out. Nobody never even talked. It just dies there. The World Trade Center just take over it. Because that was bigger. I mean, like people dying plane enter into buildings. So that was something bigger. Nobody had time. That just brushed underneath the carpet. But in the documentary, it is still there.
Yes.
You understand? So sometimes people talk for 2 weeks. And even sometimes people that steal. There are times somebody steal or you fight in public. Not even about, nothing about nudity. You maybe you fight in public or you got fired or you steal something at the workplace and it make the news. You ask yourself, how do you integrate yourself back into society? But at that point, you don't have a choice, especially when you have nowhere to go and stuff like that. You say, no, sure, you might stay home for a little while, but you have to. You have to dust yourself back and be a better version of yourself.
I know a young lady who actually wore a face mask for quite a while.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah, after the incident. Yeah.
Wow.
I know that for a fact. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So, Nikki, so tell us now, what are some of the things that would cause you not to want to go back into with an ex? What would that person have to do that would turn you off so much that you no way, no second chances?
I think for me, the biggest thing is like major physical abuse. I hate pain. And so if there was that, no. Pathological lying, yes. Right? I've been in a relationship where like I couldn't believe anything the person said eventually because to me like everything that proceeded out of his mouth were lies. And I told him that to his face. So that's a no-no for me, right? I know people change, but then sometimes because of the way you perceive them, it's like, nah, change is almost impossible, right? Stealing, something like that, to me, that's major, especially if you know my situation and then you want to milk me. Nah, no. What else? I think that's
yeah, I like what you said, especially the person knows your situation.
Yeah, because some people can be very callous. It's like they're numb, like they don't have any empathy, and I think that is very scary.
So what about some of the things that Shamark just said? Are you concerned about those kinds of things? He spoke about things that you say about the person.
But of course, yeah, definitely. But you see, one thing we have to remember, and I am not making excuses here, I believe that we all have to have some level of self-control when we're hurt or angry. But unfortunately, when we are hurt or angry, that is when so much can just spew out. Now, when people are hurt and angry, they behave in certain ways, all right? No excuses being made, just saying how it is. And a lot of the times, like they wouldn't behave like that if they were not hurt and angry. So you have to take into account that hurt breeds hurt, right? When people are hurt, they say and do hurtful things. So with that in mind, if, you find out that, an ex was really bad-mouthing you because you are the one who called it quits, I think in your heart of hearts, you need to realize that, hey, this person is angry. This person is, hurting. A lot of the times, unfortunately, we exaggerate. Things that never happened, people say that they happened. So that, we have to be very wary of that as well.
Let me just remind our listeners that you can call in and chime in. The numbers, the fixed line is 572-9710, 572-9710. Or you can WhatsApp 287-0971. WhatsApp is 287-0971. So you can call us at any point in time.
Sorry, without cutting you short, there's something I want to make note of. A lot of us are very concerned about going back with an ex because of what other people may say or think about us.
That too.
Now,
especially if you said, see me, I'll never go back with that man.
Yes. Again, when we are angry, we say certain things. When we're in the moment, we say certain things. There's a lot of negative energy swirling around when a breakup just happens. Some people absolutely mean it, and they're not going to go back because they know why. But other people go back because they know why. And for other people outside to condemn or castigate or, vilify, to me, that's not cool.
I think you're doing it for you, not for anybody
exactly.
else.
And even if you all fall apart again, that's still okay. I know of a situation where a woman, she made up and broke up with her boyfriend maybe 6-7 times. Honestly, it was... Watching on the sidelines was tiring for me, far less if I had to be the one in it. Seriously. So, but then that was their path. I have no right to condemn or just
So when she broke up the 7 times, she actually moved on to somebody else and came back.
No, they're not together anymore. You understand? But it was something, and it was very interesting. I was like, what keeps pulling them back together, and what keeps contributing to them breaking up? So it was a very interesting phenomenon.
Did you kind of figure it out, no?
As intelligent as I am, no.
I think for some persons, especially if they live in together and stuff like that, on an argument, for some things, the quickest thing, I don't know if it's in the doorstep, leave my house. Some people like to say these things very fast. It's almost like they kind of deal with the confrontation. They figure they don't have time to talk. It's some of the situations, the minor situations where you can talk over it and stuff like that. But they have to make the worst thing, you living in a neighborhood where their neighbors have to, and you have to walk out of the house to go to work. You know how embarrassing that is? And I don't know how some people can go through that over and over. I think I would move out of the neighborhood or elope, go somewhere else. Because I think it's a lot to deal with. I think even dating, what we'd miss out, going back to somebody I wouldn't go back with somebody that verbally insult me, call me some old names. I know some men that just call the women all kind of names and they drag them if they tongue in the gutter.
Loudly.
And as a female, I don't even see how can you get intimate with somebody like that again? Because you call me, you take me up and you drag me in the gutter. And as far as I concern, that's why the word sorry doesn't work for every instance for me. There's something people saying, forgive and forget.
What?
How
Can
sometimes
forgive
watching
you.
a movie, you stay there and you tear. You think it's for the movie, just remembering what happened to you. And each time you see somebody or that person, you come across something you're accustomed of doing, you would feel that way, because especially if you was really into the person and the person insults you like that, I can only imagine. And then sometimes it happens presently right now, and then the men insult their girlfriend, their wife, and then they figure 2 hours pass, you want to come and kiss the person. Sorry.
That's the issue I have.
Like, are you serious?
That's the issue I have. Like,
Yeah, I know.
You finish.
Hold on, line.
Sure.
Hold your thought.
Yes.
We have 2 callers. Let's take the first one on the fixed line. Good morning. Thanks for calling.
Good morning.
Hello
Good
there.
morning.
Hi.
Let me tell you guys are talking so much. I say, my gosh, if I was on a pay as you go, my little Freddy finished already. I don't know what was so wrong. But the conversation was so sweet. I'm like, but it making sense. And Shamark, you were on the point, on the ball. By the way, you guys sound extremely sweet today. I don't know what filter you're using out there, but you all sound so sweet today. Not that you don't sound sweet every day, but you sound sweeter.
Sweet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. But let me tell you something, and this goes beyond just boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, intimate relationships. It goes through all relationships. And I think the problem is that we are so quick to say machons and to say things, and we get into our feelings. And one thing I've always said, since I was a little girl, I will not say sorry for anything that I said in anger. And you know why? Because I meant it and I felt it at the time, so I'm not going to apologize for anything that I said in anger. I felt it at the time. I have to own up to my feelings, and people have to respect that this is how I felt in the moment. This is how a situation made me feel. However, that is not to say that I will not say sorry for hurting somebody's feelings, because there is no excuse for that. You cannot hurt somebody's feelings just because you are in your feelings. You understand? And when I accept that I am in my feelings, I also have to accept that I hurt somebody else, and that person has a right to be in their feelings. However, once I have apologized, it is upon you to accept or not to accept. If you did not accept, then carry on, move on. You don't have to drag me and vilify me in the gutter. It was your decision not to accept, and I respect your decision not to accept my apology, because this is how I made you feel. And if you feel that I was not honest, and if you feel I am not genuine in my apology, it's up to you to not accept. But once you have accepted the apology, you got to move on. Carry on. You cannot go back. And this is the other thing I hate is reproach. You did the last time. That's when you tell me how much things. But that's why I tell you I'm sorry. You accepted it. And then you now bringing it back up, throwing it in my face.
Yeah.
That is enough to get me upset again and to say more things. You understand? Because where does it end? Where, we have to be willing to accept healing.
For real.
If we are not prepared to heal, we can never accept apologies, and we can never be in a functional relationship. Our relationships will always be toxic. It will always be dysfunctional, because we have to learn to accept and move on. There are some people, oh my goodness, it's like having a bubble, and the bubble is scabbing, and you don't like the rough feel of the scab that the bubble makes, so you peel off the scab, and it bleeds, and it gets deeper, because every time that scab represents new skin, and every time you rip it off, you're creating a bigger and a deeper wound, until it leaves a scar, until it leaves a keloid, until it leaves a lasting impression of what went on in the past. And we have to learn to move on from that.
Wow.
There are some people, yes, they're quick. That is why now, as an adult, I have learned to put water in my mouth. I have learned to bite my tongue. I have learned to hold my own counsel and wisdom. If you see now, I say anything out of anger or anything out of emotional, out of emotions, it is because I cannot take again. But I have learned to hold my wisdom and to say what I mean and mean what I say. Maybe that's it. It is up to you who are receiving, if you do not understand where I'm coming from, to open or to engage the lines of communication. Communication? If you cannot communicate with people, people's feelings will always be hurt. People will always feel in their feelings, and they will always, we have this tendency to want to hurt people. It's inherent of us. We want to hurt. You see me? You hurt me. I don't know why you hurt me. I have not taken the time out to find out why you did something, why you said something. I'm just going to hurt you back. And maybe that's it. And just, we have to learn to understand that we are all human beings. You have feelings. I have feelings. Do not say things that you do not mean, and for then later on for you to go on back and eat from it and say, I am sorry. I'm sorry to yes. And I agree with you, Shamark. There are times when you just have to say, Paul, sorry not curing. I don't want your sorry. And then shut the door on that individual, because at the end of the day, it's a sorry that's not finishing at all. You are getting hurt. It's a person stabbing you, and you just say, oh, it hurts in it, but Christ said to forgive. Even Jesus Christ was upset. You remember in the temple, when he threw them out. He was angry.
Radical
He didn't do it lovingly. He was angry. You are distorting my Father's house. So my body being the temple of God, how can I allow you to keep hurting me and say, oh, it's hurting me? But 70 times 7 times 7. Hello? For me, I don't know for others, for me and my clan, I will forgive as much as I can. But there comes a point in time where my Christianity has my salvation. It has not reached that point. For me to say, keep hurting me, keep stabbing me, and I will take it.
Because I think sometimes
that is not the answer.
Okay.
I live for life, not for death.
Thank you for the contribution. Okay?
Yes.
We'll comment on her comments in a moment. We have to take another call. Thanks for holding. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Andre. Good morning, Nikki. Good morning, Shamark.
Good morning to
Good morning
you,
to you, my
sir.
friend, one of our regular callers. Thanks for calling.
Oh, thanks for accepting my call.
You're welcome.
Okay. Hey, I came a little late. What's the topic?
Should you never get back with an ex?
Oh, okay. I get it. Andre, to me, there's no problem in that, Andre. I will. Andre, the only two reasons I might not go in with my ex, if she tried to poison me, if I find out she tried to poison me, and then if she, go to the law for me, like try to make police arrest me.
Well, she may have a legitimate reason for going to the police for you, right? If she went to the police for a good reason, you're abusing her, I think there's a little caveat there.
To me, I wouldn't. Okay, it might be, but the main one, if I find out she tried to poison me, I might not go back, Andre.
So anything else is all right?
Everything else is all right. Because, Andre, I experienced that in my family. My mother was with a gentleman, and my mother and this gentleman fell out, Andre. My mother went and have a child outside. Yeah? And then my mother and that man make back, Andre, and they married. Imagine they were together for around 15 years, Andre. And they fell out, Andre. My mother went and have a child outside, and my mother and this man make back, Andre. They married, and imagine she didn't have a child for him after, but they got married. And I think that's the best time I believe this man treated my mother.
See?
When they came back,
It happens.
He died. My mother buried her, and even before he died, he built a beautiful house for my mother, Andre. And all the time they were together. To me, he wasn't doing anything much, although he had 3 children with my mother, but he wasn't doing anything much. But after my mother left her, my mother went and have a child with somebody else. He came back.
Because he saw that
Maybe
he could
got
have
a
lost
wake-up
her.
call.
Because what, Nikki?
He saw he could have lost her. So, he woke up, according to Shamark. And some people, that's their story, Some people, when they're together, like they become complacent, laissez-faire. But then when one person strays, that wakes up the other person,
But going back to my ex, Andre, To me, there is no problem. There's nothing bad in that, Andre.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderfully
Sometimes
said.
I could be the one in fault. I could be the one
Yes.
who had the fault. She too. But making back to me, I don't see that as any big. She could even have a child while we were separated. I can still come back.
Well,
Yeah.
Nice.
Well,
Okay.
okay. Thank you very
Thanks
much.
for calling,
Thank
as
you.
always.
Well. I mean, I think the important point is she had the child while they were separated.
Separated, yes.
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 I think we can understand that. But if you're together with the person and you have a
No, but some people, Andre, some
Boy.
people never, you see, that would push them far away because they figure, oh my goodness, like you have a child, that's a lot and drama, and they don't want to get involved in that. But
In fact, for some people, the fact that they know you already slept with somebody else, that's enough for them.
that's enough. They're doing it, I can tell you, they have done it. They slept with somebody else, but the mere fact that a child was involved, that's too big for them. So, yep.
But let me ask you, but doesn't the person have even if they may be, as you said, they're doing it, right? They probably had a child on the outside. Don't they still have a right to determine for themselves if they want to accept that in another person? Doesn't the person have the right
But
to
of
do
course,
that?
very much so. And one thing too, I was saying,
No, because the way you said it as though, well, since he's doing it, then he doesn't have a right now to expect that from the lady.
No, they do. They do. They do.
Yes, I know. But the way you said it is that.
I'm sorry, no, I didn't mean to come across like that.
Oh, okay.
And another thing too is like when people break up, you might think that, the person totally has, like forgotten about you, or they may think you have forgotten about them. I don't think so,
I don't think so either.
I don't think so at all. I'm telling you, even if you get with somebody else, believe me, in some cases, no.
I think if I can speak from experience, I don't know what your experiences are, but you actually find yourself constantly comparing. Yes, what you have
indeed.
currently
Big
to what you had
time.
before. Has that been your experience, Shamark?
Yes.
Have you ever, where you constantly you find yourself, despite the fact that the relationship was not, at least you felt it wasn't the greatest relationship, but you find yourself comparing, what you had with that person vis-a-vis what you have now. Have you ever, any of you found yourself in that position?
Very much so. Big
Compared, but not
time.
when I was with the person that I was in the dating process. I was comparing. Whilst you was in the dating process.
In other words,
know.
you just start seeing the other
Because
person.
whilst you're in the dating process, you're saying, especially if it's you that live your ex, you're saying, you compare, you say, but you think so and so and so. You compare in your mind, but not when the relationship was finally confirmed. You start comparing, you just live because you have learned, I've gotten mature enough to realize everybody's different. Every relationship is different. It will not be the same. That person may be good in cooking, that person may be good in sharing, being romantic. So you've learned that. But in terms of, but from the start when you was dating, you say, "Mon Dieu, make it is when you start dating, you're saying, oh my God." So,
but don't you think, we have a caller, just 1 second, a call, but don't you think there are many, many people, that's probably one of the major reasons why they go back, because they're comparing.
Yes, and they realize what they had was not so bad.
Exactly. Hold that thought. Let's take another call. Good morning. Thanks for holding.
Good morning.
good morning.
Good morning.
Host and co-host
Hi.
and Andre.
Morning.
Hello.
Morning to you.
Morning.
Touching topic. Yeah, because let me tell you, I think the worst relationship to go back to is maybe, I will not say maybe, when you're with a narcissist.
Ooh, we heard about that one already.
Yes, because these people make you sick mentally. They're not the sick ones, but they make you sick mentally. And usually these people have so much good in them, but that 1% that is not good, it mashing up everything. Tut bagay ka say 1% sala. The person insultive, the person, they want you to do what they want. They want you like them. They behave like they're the perfect people. They even want you to speak like them. They want to tell you their words. These people, I don't think anybody should go back with a narcissist. And they have a lot of them out there. A lot. Because, now I'm aware. I know them. And, I don't blame these people because maybe they go through some sort of childhood trauma,
Yes, that's
or
what
they
it
went
is.
through something. But pass it on me because I'm telling you, you need help, and you seeing you don't need the help. You have to be aware of who you are, what you're doing wrong, and if it's hurting somebody, and not every time to come and say I'm sorry or I did it because, or something like that. It hurts. It hurts because these people are good people. They are good people, but that little 1%, it's mashing up. It's mashing up.
So
you have to
correct.
run, and you even have to get vexed with these people.
Blank them out completely, yes. For your own sanity, for your own peace of mind.
Yes.
But you're very correct, eh? You're very, very correct.
Yeah, but
Okay.
nice. I love it.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
For calling, my dear.
Take care.
Andre, I honestly think
Just one thing back to what she's saying there. She's saying that this is a situation where she will not go back when she has to deal with a narcissist.
yes.
Okay? Now I can tell you, you see in the White House there in the US, there's a president there that's a narcissist on steroids. This guy has power, okay? Power. I'm not the one to call him a narcissist. His own sister wrote a book about him, and she said that he's that way. But you see the behavior. You see the behavior of this person.
Egotistic.
And then you have that power to go along with it. That is a recipe for disaster. Right, so she's saying in a situation like that, she would not go back with that kind of
When
person.
you are aware that that is who you're dealing with, because a lot of us, we are in relationships and these people exhibit certain traits and we don't even know what is what. But when you become aware of whom or what you're dealing with, then you know for sure that but I honestly think that we need to have a topic on narcissistic
I was
partners.
thinking the same thing.
Yes.
Because it's a problem apparently.
It is.
You have many people have called in and spoken
Yes.
about this type of behavior.
Yes, and there are certain things that they do, like love bombing, breadcrumbing, all of that. So we really need to have a topic on narcissism.
And you heard what she said. She said that this person generally is a very nice person.
Yes, but the 1% of their badness overrides because they hit very hard, and she really hit the nail, on the head.
So let me ask both of you, and I guess I can ask myself as well. Have you ever gone back to an ex? And have you ever done it?
I've done. I've done with that particular person. I think I was really into the person, and most of the times it's my mouth. So I went back a couple of times. We made that make and break. I see, you see that kind of yo thing. I feel like I'm in a circus, so we just quit. I mean, like now we don't even speak. But you've done it, and it every time you went back, it was good. But it is youre, so it was kind of. It was fun. It's like you broke up with that person, but you don't break up with that person. You break up with that person, but you still into the person. You still in the person business. What kind of breakup is that? But still. And then you realize you got mature and it's like, you know what? This is time to pull the plug on this. This is like wasting my time. It's preventing me from going forward to reaching my goal and stuff like that.
What was really like, you think was causing every time you go back, you break up again? What was? Do you have any idea as to what it was?
I think the reason I went back because every time we broke up, I did not rush into another relationship. I was just in my own business, but we were still speaking. So, sometimes they invite you for dinner, you just figure, why not instead of going and start something fresh.
And one thing led to
then
another.
you realize our personality was different. So I think we wanted different things. So I just say, you know what, just leave that alone. Yeah.
So, Nikki, have you ever gone back?
I mean, with both my daughter's fathers, yeah. But then it really did not make a difference. It's better I had not gone back because things had not improved. So for me, I've X'd them out on the line of that. I can say never to them.
So why did you go back in the first place? I just asked Shamark the same thing.
Because of the mental state of mind that I was in, my mental frame of mind, and I
Meaning what?
have anybody per
Was it
se.
what the first caller was saying? You're the forgiving type. You forgive 70 times 7 kind of thing.
No, not 70 times 7 up. Yes. No, not in my nature.
But just 1 second. I think we need to address that. The thing about the forgiving. I think people believe that once you say you forgive, that means you have to accept the person again.
No,
that's not what forgiveness
not
is all
at
about.
all. You free yourself.
So let's make sure we
indeed.
clarify that.
And that is
Right.
so true because we think, and I think it's what we were taught, and the way we perceive things. I can forgive you, but that doesn't mean I ever have to speak to you again. You know, I get you out of my system. I release you. I don't hate you. I don't harbor any resentment or ill feelings. But then for you to come back in my space and
I agree.
No, you have to protect yourself. You have to protect your energy when you know what that person offered
And I think
you.
we've heard the psychologists say the forgiving is even more for you.
Yeah, it is for you.
Because if you're
And
harboring all this...
exactly, and that's what we should have been taught from way
I
back.
don't understand something. There's some people I know who are vexed with about 6 or 7 people in their life, you know. They're not talking to those
Listen,
people.
that's why I tell you, you can love 6 or 7 men at the same time or 6 or 7 women at the same time. If
They
I
have
can
people
hate,
who never speak to people. They go to the graves. And even my mom was holding grudge against a nephew or something of hers, a brother or something, from since they was a child. But I said, but why you carrying that energy into that and you want to come and talk to people about it? I said, but you're not setting no exam. I should do like when you I don't man, not a child, no, I'm a big man. So, I mean, like sometimes you have to tell people how it is. You cannot hold grudges for so long.
but there's a difference between holding grudges and just forgiving the person and never speaking to them again.
But what I don't understand is how come they can not speak
but
with
sometimes
so
you can forgive
many?
that person and you just don't want to be in that person's circle. No, you forgive and you move on.
Yeah,
you know?
Shamark, but what I'm saying, to have that attitude toward a number of people.
that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
think
a
that,
lot. That's
But
a
yeah,
heavy
and Andrea,
weight.
some of them, they're making it so obvious. Let's say, I there speaking to you and Nikkie come there and I size up. All of a sudden you say, Shamark, what's wrong? Right away, the person that there with you picking up that that person that just passed there, you have something, they'll tell you
no,
why.
that's
And
not
says,
forgiveness.
no, but
When you
when you're talking
forgive-
about not about the forgiveness, you're talking about the grudge.
grudges,
Yeah,
well,
sometimes
yes,
people like that. You
energy
understand?
is palpable. You can feel it.
Yeah, some
when you
people,
carry it, you know?
for me, especially for me, I can use myself as an example. I can tell I'm very good on energies. That's why I speak to a lot of people, but I don't invite people to my home. That's too much energy. My purpose gade. Not at my home. You come in. I'm so sorry. Because you're a public figure. Everybody knows you. So you speak to people, and not everybody that speaks to you, that's your friend. So you have to pick up on those things as a human being. You understand? So I can tell when somebody like me. I can tell when somebody's in. People doesn't invite me for dinners and stuff like that. I'm not interested. You understand? Because I'm Shamark. Everybody wants to be everyone's a friend. They want to take a friend like you, some puppet or something like that. No, I'm a human being. It just happen to be attracted to the opposite sex. So at the end of the day, I have to protect my space. So I don't even understand how people, and I can tell when people don't like me. There are people that, not only me, there are people that don't like people. They've never spoken. They never speak to you.
Yeah, they don't even know you.
They don't know you.
Yeah.
They never had coffee with you, nothing like that. And then even clients, when they come into my store, so my God, you get customer service, you giving them. I never realized you were such a nice person. But that's me genuinely. I use my personality to sell my fabric. You can't walk out and tell me you see nothing here. No, my girl, you have to buy something. My boy, you have to buy something. You understand? So and then they realize, can I leave my bag there? They speak them. And then as a salesperson, you become a wedding counselor. All kind of counselor. Everybody have to tell you their problems. Why just try to sell 1 yard of fabric? All that you have to take into, because the clients walk into the store with their problems. So for me, like you said, I don't know how people can not speak to people like that. I would not speak because everybody cannot be your friend, but I cannot hold grudges because I know there are so many people that done me stuff growing up, but I don't hold grudges. I move on.
So and getting back to our topic, the people who just do not speak to their ex. Period.
Yeah, there are people that
No,
don't
but
speak
honestly,
to them.
They don't speak to them.
Yeah.
let me tell you, I can relate to that. The guy I was married to, I don't speak to him at all. At all. And guess what? I don't want to speak to him at all because there's nothing there. He has nothing to offer me. I have nothing to offer him. But I don't hate him or anything. No.
Just for your peace of mind.
Yes, exactly.
I think
my
just for your
first
peace of
child's
mind.
father, I decided not to speak to him at all. And listen, I don't care if I were to die, never speaking to him again. It wouldn't matter.
So what was some of the dynamics in the relationship that caused you to feel that way? Because this is something for all of us to learn from. Because there's something that we are doing to this person that really hurts the individual to the point where you feel, something from my own peace of mind, I have nothing to do with you. I mean, we all don't want that kind of situation in our lives. I wouldn't like that at all for me.
No.
So what would be going on, Nikkie, that would cause you to feel that way?
Honestly, Andre, like for the marriage is like the constant lies, just too many lies. It's like I didn't know where I stood. Okay, I think I could say my life could have been in danger too because he would like take people's stuff, okay, claiming to fix them, and then he would never give them back, and people would meet me in the street and tell me, where's your husband, he has this, he has that for me, and whatever. He would take people's money claiming he would order stuff, and the people never go. Just to me, and just so much more that I don't care to speak about, because I don't want people to think I'm here to tarnish the man or whatever. But honestly, the kind of person I found him out to be, that's not the kind of person I want in my own space. For the first daughter, this guy, I mean, he tried to just bad talk me to my daughter, tell her things that she did not have to know.
That's what Shamark was saying.
You understand?
Earlier.
You don't do that. And when
imagine to your daughter.
Yeah, the last time I had enough was 2023, right? Where there was some kind of a drama, and I just decided to cut this guy out. I blocked him on Facebook, I deleted him off my phone, and I have never spoken to him since, and I will never speak to him. I don't care. He came to St. Lucia. I didn't say a word to him. He had something to drop for my daughter. I told my cousin, just bring it. I don't want to see him. I don't want to speak to him. Jeez. Honestly, it's not like I don't hate the man or anything, but I don't want to have nothing to do with him, because you did the damage already. Why you want to keep on doing damage? So certain exes, nah, I don't want to have nothing to do with them, honestly.
Shamark mentioned something earlier, and I think maybe we should go back there just for a little while. This thing about calling your better half, your significant other, names, derogatory names, and so on.
I think it's
that's so important.
I mean, that's so. Because the old people say, then you dig way. Because to me, I cannot do that. That was somebody I was in love with. That was somebody who used to share a meal together. We used to share a bed. We used to go out. We used to say, I love you. So that means children. So that means you insulting your own self. How can you call a woman you was with a something like that? I mean, come on. I know you're upset, but that's somebody you was in love with. That's somebody you used to walk, catch a bus to go and bring flowers for, to go to dance with, and all of these things. And then because you're upset, you can insult that. To me, you insulting yourself. If she's a she, you're a she. Because, and it's so bad, because even for me as a event planner, I've done weddings, and you don't know. I'm saying, hey, how are you? You're so happy you see a bride. You did a wedding 2 years ago. How is your husband? Me, I not think that dog again, huh? I'm like, what? I say, girl, listen, my man, you take a happy, because I don't understand.
The biggest thing for me is when they slander you, they use all sorts of derogatory terms, they literally drag you through the mud, and then they want to come and make love to you afterwards like nothing never happened. Honestly speaking, that, let me tell you, I've experienced it, and I it's not a good feeling. You have to know that the person doing all the bad mouthing is in a bad place, but for you to try to make it seem as if, after all that, it's okay. People get angry, whatever, and they do that repetitively. And so it erodes things.
Or as we go back to the first caller, when she said she doesn't apologize for things she says in anger.
Yes.
And that's what we do a lot. I'm sorry, I was angry at the time.
Honestly, I think that's the second person I've ever heard say these words. They don't apologize in anger, like they don't when they were angry. And I think I did a lot of thinking about that, and I agree, because you know why? You feeling what you're feeling, so you're not sorry for what you're saying. You may be sorry that you contributed to somebody's hurt, but believe me, in your heart of hearts, you are not sorry for what you said, because you're feeling what you're feeling. That's why you're saying it.
We have another call. Thank you for calling. Good morning.
Good morning. It was really hard to try and listen to you guys today because I was out of the house. So I'm like, you guys are addicted, man. I'm like trying to listen to you guys very softly.
Thank you for calling.
I think from what I heard, it's talking about exes.
Yeah, going back with an ex.
Yeah, well, I think if you leave, you leave. There is no going back. But I heard Nikki was saying, like, communicating with that ex or anything. I think I communicated with all of my ex, except one that called me a bad name, and I just figured out I have nothing to do.
We just spoke about that.
Yes.
Yes. And I just feel like that was actually it. Like, sometimes it's wrong for us to stay in abusive relationship, but two things I feel like, calling a woman dog, like Shamark said, or calling them a B word or whatever, and for you want to stay with that person, I cannot see myself staying with any man that just insult me that way and I have to sleep with you. No, I can't. Right? And
I don't think sorry can fix that.
No,
sorry can fix that.
It just can't. So I had one really, really bad experience, a very, very short thing. And the guy used my past experience,
narcissistic, yeah.
And saying that, whatever, right? He's like my past, using my abuse and saying, even said, you're from the village. Like, just really bad things. And I'm thinking like, I'm looking at him and I was like, that's it. I cannot see myself. And it was very short, but I just couldn't see myself. Even no matter how much he said sorry, I cannot see myself even being with you again
I
after
can only
you
imagine.
look at me.
Because at that point, Kola, you
I'm
feeling
left
like all
over
the time
my
he was
abusers.
pretending with you.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's calling a woman and say you are leftovers of your rapist.
Why?
Or you are B.
And that's why we have to be careful whom we tell anything about our past. They want to tell. You know what I learned?
Exactly. Sorry, cutting you.
Yes.
This is exactly. You see that topic is exactly going back to the previous topic we had last week when Andre said the person needs to know everything from the beginning, and I think that's a different topic. No. There are certain things you cannot tell someone at the beginning, and I had to learn the hard way.
Yes, me too.
Because they use it against you.
We had a topic on that, should you tell your significant other everything? And the answer is a resounding no, because I can safely tell you, when you do that, you set yourself up for a high fall.
Yep.
When these people get in an argument with you, you can very seldom, will they not throw things back in your face.
They
And
dirty laundry
women
like
have a
public
tendency
laundry.
to tell men more about themselves than men tell women about themselves. And I have said, I got burned as well. Am I there? I can tell you, before I thought, like when you get with somebody, you have to tell them this. No.
Hold on.
Well, I learned from
Sorry, caller, because I think you're disagreeing with me at that one. I really believe there's some things that, yes, it's true. It's kind of a private thing, but you ought to share it. Let me just give you one example.
Yes, Andre, I'm going to cut you short right there. I'm not saying
my own
you're
show.
wrong.
My own show.
Yes, I'm cutting you short. I'm not saying you're wrong. But on the first date, second date, no. It's like putting a gun to somebody's head by telling them they need to tell you every detail of your life.
That's
on your first date
narcissistic.
or
I don't think we're saying every caller. We're not saying every detail, but I'm
No,
saying
they
there's
ask
some
a lot of
things
questions.
you need to.
So,
That's a
Andre,
red
you are
flag.
putting
Okay,
the
hold on.
details that you want. If they have a problem or if they cannot sleep with you or whatever. No, it's about how the person feels and feel comfortable with you. That person has to feel comfortable and safe with you to be able to tell you something that is so devastated to them or what they had to work with, to come and open up and say something to you. You cannot put a time limit.
But what about caller? But look, eventually you say. I think you're saying eventually you'll tell them, and eventually hold on, Bonji, take it easy. But caller, I'm saying to you, eventually, I think I gather that from you. This because now you feel more comfortable with the person.
Andre,
you will say it, right? Hold on.
Andre,
You feel more comfortable, so. Moji.
I disagree with you, Andre, and I will cut you off. It's not right
My own
away.
show.
Before you sleep with that person, yes. Before you decide to have a relationship with that person, serious relationship, and wanting to have a relationship, the answer is yes. And if you don't feel comfortable telling that person those painful past, then maybe that's the wrong person for you. But before you just dating the person and you meet the person, you're going to tell them, no, Andre, I don't care. Like, it's a no on a woman's side. I have been through a lot and I have learned the hard way. And I have gone through 15 years of counseling, and you always say, we should go to counseling. The answer is no.
Because anybody who wants to know too much about you too soon, that's a red flag. They most likely gathering information to use against you. That's a narcissistic trait.
No, but
It is.
okay,
Telling
caller, thank you very much.
that,
Thank you
sir.
very much,
Telling
caller.
somebody about your past is almost like what I call it. I understand what you're saying. When you get
depends.
comfortable, you realize, wow, Nikkie's in that created that comfort space for me. Then you say, you don't have something to tell you. I mean, like things like if you cannot make children, things like that as a female, you have to tell a man that. You know, you can't make children like that, you know, because of whatever. Fine.
Exactly.
But if you was rape and you don't want to tell a person that, then you figure you want to. You don't have to tell the person if you don't want to. Because as the caller said, you have some people, one maybe start to come, they're not thinking of, they're not dealing with the issue at hand. They're going with that private. And I think anytime you go into that private thing, like the caller said, her partner told her, it's almost like you don't want the relationship no more. Why? Can you imagine if it's at a function or in the streets, you're going to me that as a maple? Like, that's like tearing you apart. Eh?
I wish we had more time to explore this subject. That was another good one. Thank you very much, Nikki, and thank you very much, Shamark, for presenting another exciting love zone. So, Nikki, you have some work to do for the narcissists.
Yes.
And also,
There's a
maybe
lot of-
what is it that we're not supposed to be saying to our potential significant other, right? And at what point do you say them? All right? Yeah, a lot of thinking to do. Okay? So thank you very much.
Welcome.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Those of you on Facebook, etc., we'll take a little break and get back to you as we're about to present Hard Drive. But this has been Love Zone, heard on Rev-Up Slu every Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m.